When Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power in Burkina Faso, many dismissed him as just another military figure in a region full of instability. But what happened next shocked global elites. Behind his calm appearance and nationalist speeches was a bold strategy, one that would soon shake the financial foundations of Western control in West Africa. While CEOs of major mining and energy corporations looked down on him, Traoré was quietly crafting a plan, not for headlines, but for sovereignty. In boardrooms thousands of miles away, executives smirked. They didn't realize the young captain wasn't bluffing. He was preparing to reclaim what rightfully belonged to his people. For decades, foreign companies extracted gold, minerals, and resources from Burkina Faso, sending billions in profits abroad while leaving behind poverty and broken infrastructure. Traoré saw this system for what it was, a modern form of exploitation dressed up in corporate deals. So instead of signing new contracts, he froze them. He suspended foreign licenses. He ordered a full audit of all existing resource agreements. Western executives panicked. They weren't used to resistance, not like this. Traoré wasn't asking for a bigger cut. He wanted full control. And that terrified the boardrooms of Paris, London, and New York. International media quickly painted him as radical and anti-investment. But Traoré didn't flinch. He used the attention to speak directly to his people. In fiery public addresses, he exposed how much wealth had left the country, over $50 billion by some estimates. His speeches weren't just words. He backed them with numbers, showing contracts where Burkina Faso received pennies for every dollar earned by foreign firms. The people listened. They rallied. For the first time in years, there was unity around a single goal: take back the land, the wealth, the dignity. Traoré had turned public anger into political momentum. But the real checkmate move came when he nationalized key industries. Without warning, Traoré announced that several mines and energy operations were now under state ownership. Western companies protested, filed legal claims, and threatened sanctions. Still, Traoré moved forward. He deployed security forces to protect reclaimed sites, appointed local experts to run operations, and redirected revenue straight into domestic programs. Roads, clinics, and schools began popping up in regions long ignored. The world was stunned. How had a young leader with no corporate ties pulled off such a bold economic rebellion without crumbling under pressure? The answer: strategy and patience. While the West relied on contracts and courtrooms, Traoré relied on the people. He toured rural towns, spoke directly to miners and workers, and created community councils to oversee resource distribution. This wasn't just a top-down takeover, it was grassroots empowerment. Foreign investors were blindsided. They had assumed he'd be isolated. But the truth was, Traoré had something more powerful than capital. He had national unity. And with that unity came legitimacy. Every attempt to discredit him only made him more popular at home. While CEOs scrambled, he solidified his grip. Unable to stop him legally or financially, global institutions tried a familiar tactic: pressure through diplomacy and aid. Loans were threatened, deals were pulled, and headlines warned of economic collapse. But Traoré had prepared. He reached out to other African nations, forming new trade alliances and bartering deals with countries willing to bypass the Western banking system. His administration introduced new payment systems that avoided traditional colonial currencies. Where others begged for help, Traoré negotiated from strength. He didn't just outsmart the CEOs. He rewrote the rules they thought couldn't be challenged. Behind the scenes, intelligence reports from major Western nations began to worry. What if other African leaders followed his model? What if the extraction for aid formula was truly dying? One by one, leaders from neighboring countries began praising Traoré's courage. Activists and economists across Africa called him a symbol of a new generation, unafraid, unapologetic, and focused. Even some Western voices quietly admitted he had exposed the flaws in the old system. Whether they liked it or not, the world had to take him seriously. He wasn't just a temporary figure, he was the face of an awakening. By year's end, Burkina Faso's GDP had begun to rebound, not through foreign aid, but through national revenue. New schools were being funded directly from mine profits. The health ministry received a major boost. Local employment surged in sectors once dominated by foreign workers. And while sanctions and criticism came from abroad, Traoré stood tall, delivering a message that resonated far beyond borders. Africa's wealth is not a gift to the world, it is a birthright to its people. Those weren't just sound bites, they were backed by policy, action, and visible results. The $50 billion that once slipped away, now it was building futures. Meanwhile, corporate lobbyists tried to salvage what they could. They proposed new terms, offered better deals, and even tried to appeal to Traoré personally. But he remained firm. "We don't negotiate under pressure," he said. "We negotiate as equals." That single line sent shockwaves through corporate media. He wasn't asking for charity or handouts. He was demanding justice, and that was something no boardroom script had prepared for. For once, a leader had flipped the power dynamic, where CEOs came begging and a president decided what was fair. It was a reversal decades in the making. In the end, Ibrahim Traoré didn't just take back $50 billion, he took back the narrative. He showed that Africa could lead, could own, could govern without puppets or proxies. His story became more than politics. It became a lesson that leadership doesn't require permission, that resistance, when rooted in truth and backed by the people, can shake empires. And that sometimes the smartest man in the room isn't wearing a suit or sitting on a board. He's wearing boots, carrying conviction, and speaking for a nation tired of being robbed. That's how Traoré made history, and why the world can't ignore him anymore.